Hi, welcome back to Yoga with Mom. I'm Jen and I'm so happy to see you today. So today's class is going to be another one of our mat classes. So it's not going to be in the chair. So if you're looking for just a chair yoga class, this is not the episode for you. I want you to skip on to a different one. But if you're ready to be on the mat and have a little bit more of a challenging exercise, maybe your balance is a little bit better, you got a little more stability, you're building a little strength, and you feel up to it today. If you feel up to it, welcome. All right, let's get started. So I want you to make your way down to a seated position on your mat. You can have those knees bent crisscross applesauce here. You can have them straight out, have them bent however you feel comfortable. We're just gonna take a couple deep breaths in to kind of ground ourselves and bring ourselves to be present in our practice today. I know everybody's got a lot going on in the world and in their hearts and minds and their busy lives. And it's really important when you do yoga to take a couple moments just to be present where you are in this exact moment. So I want you to bring your hands together in prayer at your heart center. We're gonna take a nice deep breath in together. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And I invite you just to gently close your eyes as you're breathing here for a few breaths and getting ready. And just do what you can to just let go of the rest of your day. You should be focusing on being here, being present on your mat, getting ready for this workout. And just, as you're here today, I want you to really appreciate yourself, your body, just for who and what you are, for how hard you work, for dedicating time for yourself today. Our whole practice today is really just to sit here, take in this moment, and to appreciate yourself. All right, so let's take one big final breath in together. And then exhale. All right, I'm gonna drop my hands down to my legs here. I want you to bring your chin to your shoulder. So we're gonna start with the chin going to the right. Inhaling deep. We'll cross over to the left. As we inhale, we cross. Inhale, cross. One more cross. And cross. Fantastic. Now I want you to bring your right ear to your right shoulder. Gently stretching, really reaching, stretching those left side muscles of your neck. But being mindful, because we are just warming up here. We're not trying to stretch ourselves like crazy. Let's take a nice big inhale. And as we exhale, bring that left ear to our left shoulder. Gently stretching that right side of our neck. Remembering to breathe nice and deep here. And exhale. One more big inhale. And on my exhale, I'm going to bring my right ear back to my right shoulder. There you go. Get a nice stretch in here. I notice I often close my eyes when I'm stretching like this. I don't know, it just seems like my stretches feels a little bit better when I close my eyes. You don't have to do that, but if it feels good, go right ahead. Let's take one more inhale. And then as I exhale, my left ear goes back to my left shoulder. All right, we're gonna take a couple more good breaths here. Really lengthening that right side of our neck, just slowly warming up, nice and stretching. Just remembering to be very present here. Letting go of imperfections and background noises and just focusing on ourselves and our bodies right in this moment. Let's take a deep inhale in. And exhale, our right ear goes to our right shoulder. I want you to drop your right elbow down to the mat. If you have a block, you can put it underneath your elbow, or you can just lean the elbow all the way down to the ground. Try to keep those sit bones on the ground, on the mat. My right ear is gonna reach to my right shoulder, and I'm gonna stretch my left arm up to the sky. So as I stretch here, I'm really reaching my fingertips away from my shoulder, stretching tall. I'm wiggling my fingers a little bit to get some movement in my upper arm, and just really being mindful of the stretch, really pulling my arm, my shoulder. I notice the stretch all the way down the side of my body, all the way to my hip even. And I really just try to keep that ear leaning towards my shoulder. I might lose connection, but that's okay. The goal is really to stretch that arm up as high as I can. And then I'm just gonna gently reach my head, or my hand, over my head towards my right shoulder. I'm keeping my left shoulder back and dropped, so I can't reach my arm that far over without collapsing my chest in. I want my chest to be as open as possible, so my heart space is really just reaching up towards the sky. So just here, gently bend. I have this left elbow nice and bent, but it really feels like the left side of my chest is just pulling up and out, reaching towards the sun. All right, one more big breath in. And as I exhale, I'm just gonna gently push myself back up into my seated position. Fantastic, and I'm gonna switch sides. So that left ear reaches towards the left shoulder. I'm just gonna lower my left elbow down to the ground, reaching that ear towards the elbow. My right arm reaches up towards the sky. And I'm just gonna gently wiggle my fingers a little bit. Claire, you're all right. My dogs always have to say hi to the neighborhood dogs when they walk down the street. So if you're ever in my neighborhood, they'll say hi to you. Keep wiggling those fingers. Really stretching that left ear towards your left shoulder. Really reaching, stretching, pulling out of my hip. Reaching my fingertips tall. Breathing in nice and deep. And then when I feel ready, I'm just gonna stretch that right arm over. There we go. Remembering to keep my shoulder dropped down my back so my chest is nice and open. My heart's just reaching up towards that sunshine, just grabbing the sun and pulling it back to me. My left ear really reaches towards that left shoulder, but the goal is that nice, beautiful stretch on that right side of my body. Remembering my nice deep breaths in and out. One more in and out. All right, I'm just gonna slowly, gently stretch myself back up to center. Very nice job. I'm gonna bring my hands to my knees, sitting up nice and tall, dropping those shoulder blades down my back. The crown of my head reaches up towards the sky. Sitting as tall as I can. I'm leaning back just a scooch, but just trying to straighten my back. There you go, nice and tall. Nice breath in and out. One more big breath in and out. All right, let's move on to a nice seated twist. So I'm gonna take my right hand to grab my left knee. My left arm is gonna reach behind and I twist my torso, looking over that left shoulder, looking behind me, stretching, and gently stretching my neck, my upper back, my shoulders here. As I breathe, I use my breath to move me a little bit deeper in my stretch. My exhales deepen that stretch just a bit further, but I'm not pushing myself too hard here. I am still opening up, and I'm sitting as tall as I can with that crown of my head really, really reaching to the sky. Let's take one more big deep breath in together. And as we exhale, we're gonna move through center. Our left hand grabs the right knee. My right arm reaches behind and I just gently twist, gazing over that right shoulder. Sitting nice and tall, gently twisting. Remembering my big deep breaths here. And remembering to use the power of my breath to deepen my Nice stretch. All right, fantastic. One more big deep breath in here. And as I exhale, I'm gonna twist my way back towards center. There we are. I'm gonna reach my arms up to the sky, wiggle those fingers for a second. I'm gonna flick my fingers like I'm flicking water off my hands. There we go, start warming up those arm muscles. This little flicky flicky is one of the favorite stretches I've ever learned from any yoga teacher. I feel like it does such a good job warming those arm muscles up, and especially when you hold it over your head a little bit extra of a challenge, because we're going to be doing some downward dogs, being up on our hands a good amount today. We really want to get those arms and those shoulders moving and warmed up. All right, perfect. Let's stretch our arms up tall, and then I'm going to gently fold over my lap in a nice forward fold, keeping those knees nice and bent. And as I sit here in my fold, each deep breath I try to fold a little bit lower down to the ground. My goal is to keep my back as straight as I can, and to just try to reach my chin and my forehead down to the mat. Stretching, stretching is always remembering my breath. Let's take a deep breath in, and I'm slowly gonna roll myself up. All right, our next stretch is one of my all-time favorites. So, my hands are gonna be on my knees, on my thighs here, and I want you to lean your torso down towards your right leg. As I lean myself down, I bring my chin down towards that knee. And I want you to use your left hand and to push into the other knee. Listen to your body here. But as you're pushing into that left hand and letting your torso rest on your lap here, you should feel a nice stretch in your thigh, or I'm sorry, your hip and the side of your body right over here. So just gently push. You can twist the shoulder back. Just notice the sensations you feel in your body as you gently push here. Nice deep breaths in. And exhale. Let's make our way back up to a seated position. There we go. I'm gonna switch my legs right now so that my left leg is in front. My torso folds down to the left side, and I push into my right palm, getting that stretch of that right hip. There we are. You don't have to switch your feet, but I personally notice a difference in my hips when I do switch my feet. So my goal is to have my torso and my chin, of course, reaching towards the leg that is in front of my cross legs. So as I'm leaning to the left, my left leg is in front. If I'm going to the right, my right leg would be in front. Keep the gentle push. Notice how as you straighten your elbow and you bend it, the difference in the stretch of your hip and your back. Let's take one more breath in, and then I'm gonna roll myself slowly up to a nice seated position. All right, fantastic. We're gonna make our way to a tabletop position next. So I'm gonna swing my legs behind me. My hands are gonna go below my shoulders. My knees are below my hips here. So I get myself nice and adjusted out. My toes are flat. My feet point to the wall behind me. Perfect. And I'm gonna start with some cat-cows. So I'm going to exhale and round my spine up towards the ceiling. My head gazes down towards my navel, and I push into my palms and the tops of my feet like a Halloween cat. Really pushing, pushing. Inhale, drop my belly to my cow. I really curve my spine in. My head, my gaze reaches up towards the sky. Exhale, round that spine up, gazing towards my navel like a cat, just pushing into my palms and the tops of my feet. Inhale, round the belly down towards the mat. The head raises up. Exhale, round that spine to the ceiling. My gaze is at my navel. I push into the hands and the palms. Really stretching and pushing, stretching and pushing. And then one more time, I drop my navel down towards the mat, rounding my spine. My head rounds up. Very nice. All right, I want you to firmly plant your right knee on the ground, and you're gonna dig your left fingers in just a little bit. We're gonna do our bird dog here, and we're gonna just stretch our left leg out to the back. So I'm gonna keep my balance, and you can keep both hands on the ground as you set yourself up in this position. So my leg is nice and straight back. And if I have a good balance here and I feel stable, I can lift my right arm. So opposite arm, opposite leg, and I'm just gonna hold them both out into the air for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set my palm and my knee back down, and I'm gonna switch sides. So I kick my right leg straight out, reach my left arm forward, there you go, and I hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently lower the hand and the knee down. Perfect. We're gonna switch to the other side again. So I'm gonna stretch that left leg back out, and my right arm goes back out. So here I'm gonna tap my hand and my foot down to the ground and reach them back up. If it's too hard to do the hand and the foot together, you can always keep a hand down or even hold your arm straight out and just tap your leg down. But I feel like a challenge today, so they're both going down for me. Ready? 10 times. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Nice and strong. Perfect. Bend that left leg at a 90-degree angle. I want my foot nice and flat, like it's touching the ceiling, and I reach my right arm back in my tiger. If I can't grab onto my ankle, that's okay. The goal is to really open my shoulder up, but I can grab my ankle here, and I'm gonna push into my ankle just a little bit, stretching even further back, and I hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently lower the knee and the palm down to the ground. Great job. Let's get on to the other side. I'm gonna stretch my right leg out nice and long. Perfect. Ground those right fingertips into the mat. Stretch my left arm out. Perfect. And I'm gonna just tap down and reach up. Down and up. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And I'm not gonna set anything down. I bend that knee, flatten that foot, reach that left arm back, open my shoulder up, push, 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 and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently set our knee and our foot down. Fantastic, here we go. So our knees are back below our hip and our tabletop. My hands are below my shoulders. I'm gonna curl my toes in and gently lift my knees up off the ground just an inch or two in my bear. There you go. So I'm just holding those knees up off the ground, supporting myself on the balls of my feet and my hands for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently lower those knees down. Perfect, perfect. All right, let's keep on moving. So we're back in our tabletop position and we're gonna do some shoulder dips. It's a variation of thread the needle. So we got a little thread the needle work we're gonna do today that's gonna feel fantastic for you. So I'm gonna start opening up this left arm and the left shoulder first. So I plant my right palm. I'm gonna reach my left arm up to the sky. There you go. Stretching it open. And then I'm gonna set my hands back down with my fingertips facing away from my right hand. And it's gonna slide across the mat all the way over. And I set my head down in a line with my right palm. So my shoulders are lined up. And as I push into my right palm, I can feel a nice opening in my left shoulder. So I'm just gonna stay here for just a few breaths. Let's press into our right palm, bringing ourselves back up. I reach my left arm up to the sky, maybe wiggle those fingers, and I'm gonna thread that arm through underneath my right is to thread my needle. I gently set my torso down on that left shoulder. The palm of my left hand faces the sky. I press into my right palm, gently twisting. And we're gonna take several breaths here, so find a nice comfortable position. Make sure that the way you're leaning on your left shoulder is comfortable for you right now. Because there's a bunch of different variations and we're gonna try out a couple today and see what we like best. All right. So the first variation I want us to try is I want you to reach your right leg out to the side. There you go. So I have my big toe touching down and I'm stretching that right leg out to the side, basically parallel to my left arm. And once I have good balance here, I'm gonna reach my right arm up to the sky. If this is not comfortable, you can absolutely leave the right leg in, just try reaching that left arm up to the sky, or you can leave the right leg out and keep pushing into the palm. I'm enjoying this variation here, reaching to the sky, reaching my leg out. So try all of these and see what feels good to your body. I'm just gonna keep stretching here for a few more breaths. And as I reach that right arm up, I do try to tip it a little bit towards my back, pulling that right shoulder back a little bit, just twisting my upper torso, twisting my body a little bit further, and working on my balance at the same time, because that's always so important to work on. All right, let's drop our right palm. I'm gonna bring my right knee back in, push into my right palm, and I'm back in my tabletop. Fantastic. So now we're gonna do the right shoulder this time. So I'm going to reach my right arm up to the sky, opening. I set those fingertips facing away from my left hand, so they're facing all the way to that right wall there. Slowly slide out, bend that left elbow. My gaze is at my left elbow right now. I push into my left palm, gently stretching, pushing, remembering some nice deep breaths here. All let's take a deep breath in. I'm gonna push into that left palm again. There we go. My right arm reaches back up towards the sky. I might wanna wiggle those fingertips for a second. And we're about to thread that needle. Are you ready? That right arm threads under that left arm. I set my torso down on my right shoulder, pushing into that left palm to twist my body. Gently twisting. We'll take a couple breaths here and then we'll push it up to turbo speed. Remembering nice deep breaths. All right, and if you feel good balance here, you can stretch that left leg out to the side, maybe setting it on the toe, or even setting the whole foot to the side. Stretching. And if the balance feels nice here, you can reach that left arm right up to the sky. And of course, you can keep your knee in if you'd like. You can keep your hand in the traditional bent on the mat position. You don't have to go further. Just listen to your body and enjoy the stretch. I'm going to take a couple more nice breaths here, and I invite you to do the same. All right, let's drop that left palm down to the mat. Bring our left knee in. Press into that left palm. So we're back in our nice tabletop position. Very, very nice. All right. So from here, I want you to touch those big toes together. You can bring your knees as wide apart from each other on the mat as you'd like, depending on how your hips feel today. And I want you to slowly sit yourself back in a child's pose. So you can keep your arms nice and extended in front of you as we set our foreheads on the mat. You can also bring your arms down the side, and they can even rest with the palms facing the sky next to your ankles. I like to keep mine stretched up above head so I can press into the palms, stretching my back. But listen to your body and choose what makes you feel the best in this moment. We're going to take just a few breaths here, allowing that warm up to really settle into our muscles and to focus ourselves on the rest of our practice today. Let's take one more big deep breath in together. And as we exhale, I want you to push yourself back up into a tabletop position. There you go. I'm going to bring my knees back to shoulder distance apart. My toes are going to point to the wall in front of me, or behind me, I'm sorry. And then I'm going to gently walk my hands out into puppy pose. So my goal is to keep my hips where they are, nice and back here over my knees. They're all the way back. I'm going to drop my elbows down underneath my shoulders and slowly walk my hands forward. My goal here is to set my chest and maybe my forehead or my chin on the mat. And there we go. Just gently opening up my shoulders. I have to bring my hands a little bit wider to make this work. But listen to your body. If it feels a little too scary, you can just focus on setting your chest down. So we'll take a couple breaths here, really opening up those shoulders a little bit deeper. All right, let's take one more big breath in. And as we exhale, we're gonna reach ourselves back up into our tabletop position. Very nice job. All right, I want you to slowly round yourself up so you're standing on your knees. Very nice job. And from here, we're gonna go into our gate pose. So I'm going to straighten my right leg out, pointing to the side, my toes point. My right hand goes to my right knee, and I use that to keep my balance. Left arm goes up to the sky. I have my left shoulder dropped down my back. My chest is nice and open. And then I'm just going to gently reach that left arm overhead, slowly bending, stretching, lengthening that left side of my body without folding my body down. I really want to keep my shoulder back and reach over. There you go. So we're just going to take a few breaths here, really stretching and breathing. Today's practice is all about stretching, gentle movement, nothing wild and crazy. As much as I like up and down and moving around, some days you just need the nice restorative practice where you stretch and let your muscles just be. All right, let's reach both arms back up towards the sky. All right, so we're gonna keep that right leg out like we have it right now, and we're gonna go into our half camel pose. Okay, so I'm gonna take my left hand here and I'm gonna swing it backwards. I can either grab onto my hip, or if I'm a little bit more flexible, I can grab to the back of the heel. I can also curl my toes. Hard to see here from this angle, but you can curl your toes like this and put your hand on there for the half camel, reaching up. Like so. Arms on the hip here, reaching up, or flat down. No matter where my hand is, my goal is to push my hips a little bit forward. There we go. Trying to keep my shoulders dropped on the back, and I want to reach my right arm up. There we go, feeling a nice stretch here. And just really remember to breathe and stretch, point those toes. One more deep breath in. And then I'm gonna stretch both arms nice and tall. I've got my legs still stretched out to the side. There we go, just like that. And I'm gonna sit myself back. My left butt cheek's gonna go right onto my left heel here. I'm gonna just slowly slide myself down, slide those arms forward in a half child's pose. So you might feel this is a little bit, you might be tilting a little bit to one side or the other. I adjust my right foot a little bit and pull myself a little bit over. If it's easier for you, you can also curl those left toes up underneath a little bit to keep your hips a little higher, to make that an easier transition. It is a little bit awkward, but it does help with the hamstrings and the knees and the hip opening here. So we'll just stretch here for a few more breaths. All right, let's take one more big inhale together. And then as we exhale, we're gonna make our way back to our center position. Both knees are underneath our hips, there you go. And we're gonna switch sides, moving our gait to our opposite side here. So I'm gonna stretch those left legs out to the side, very nice. Left hand reaches to the knee, right arm reaches up, opening my chest up, my shoulders drop down my back. Nice, and I'm gonna reach that left arm overhead, gently stretching, getting a nice stretch in that right side of my body. There you go, nice stretch in. There you go, remembering to breathe here. Such a delightful stretch. All right, one more breath in. And as I exhale, I'm gonna reach both arms up to the sky, really stretching tall, maybe wiggling those fingers for a second. All right, we're gonna move to the half camel again on the right side. So my right arm swings to the hip or to my heel, grabbing on. I push my hips gently forward and reach that left arm up towards the sky. There we go. And I'll turn just so you can see it a little bit better from your view. There we go, the left leg's out to the side. My toes are pointed back. Hip pushes up, arm reaches out. Stretch, stretch, stretching. And my gaze is just a little bit upward. I have to close my eyes or I'll be looking at the sun, so don't mind me. I love it though. If I can practice outside, that's where I'm gonna be. It's my favorite thing, yoga in the sunshine. Let's take one more big breath in. And as I exhale, I'm gonna drop that left arm, round myself up to a nice tall position, and I go to my half child's pose again. So again, my right cheek tries to go down to the right heel. I gently bend myself down, reaching those arms forward. I'm gonna sit on my toes on this side a little bit. There we go. So as I stretch, I turn my left toes up towards the ceiling, towards the sky, and I flex my foot just a little bit. It shifts the stretch on my hamstring, and it definitely feels a lot better with my right toes curled underneath to have my left toes flexed. I invite you to try that yourself and see how that feels for you. There we go. All right, let's take one more big breath in, and then we're gonna roll ourselves out and make our way back to our center. So both of my knees are gonna be below me. Perfect, and I'm gonna show you this from this angle. We're gonna go for our full camel today. So either with the toes curled like this or flat. I can reach both arms up to the sky, stretching tall, and then I swoop my right arm back to my hip, to my curled toe foot, or to my flat foot, wherever it feels better for me today. I'm gonna push my hips gently forward, and then I'm gonna gaze up towards the sky. I don't wanna crunch my neck backwards. I'm just lengthening my neck, pushing into those hips, getting a nice back stretch here. Really remembering to breathe. Opening that front of our chest. Very nice. And one more huge breath in. Hold it for a second. And exhale ourselves nice and straight. Fantastic work. All right, I want us to walk our hands forward here. We're gonna lay ourselves all the way flat down on our belly. So bring those legs back. I'm going to cross my arms above my head and lay my forehead down on my arms for just a few breaths in my crocodile pose. My toes point to the wall behind me. The soles of my feet face the sky. And here, I'm just gonna gently roll my head a little bit side to side, just releasing some of that tension in my neck. Maybe go a little up and down, massaging the forehead and your third eye on your wrist bone, maybe. Just noticing what feels good in the moment. The nose feel great for me, so I'm gonna do a few more of those. But I invite you to listen to your body, and if it feels better just to be still, take a few breaths and just be still. Let's take one more big breath in together. And as we exhale, I want you to lift your head. All right, I'm gonna separate my arms. I'm gonna bring my elbows right below my shoulders. My palms are gonna face down on the mat here. You go. And I'm gonna push into my elbow bones. So my elbows are just gonna grind into the mat a little bit. And the crown of my head reaches towards the ceiling and my sphinx. The tops of my feet are pushing into the ground just a touch. And I'm just pushing. I can feel a little stretch on my low back, nothing crazy, but the pushing of my elbows helps lengthen. It feels like my torso, my chest is opening up a little bit here, stretching here. There you go. All right. As we exhale, let's lower our torso just a bit. I want you to bring your palms back to the top of your rib cage, and I want you to bring the toes in together. So the big toes of my feet are touching. The tops of my feet are pressed into the mat still. And I'm gonna take a deep breath in and push into my palms, lifting my head and my torso in my cobra. So my pelvis is still glued to the ground. My elbows are in tight and I'm really stretching that low back. There you go. Very nice job. We'll hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently let yourself down to the mat. Very nice. You might want to shift the hips a little bit side to side. We're going to just take another breath here, and then we'll push back up into our cobra again. So make sure you're nice and settled in your pose. Your hands are glued down to the top of your rib cage on the mat. The tops of your feet push in. Take a deep breath in and push into those palms, lifting your torso. The pelvis is glued down to the ground. The elbows are in nice and tight. There you go. Have a nice smile because it feels great stretching like this. For 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, as we curl those toes in, we're gonna push our hips up and back to our downward facing dog. There you go. Here, I want you to just bend your knees a little bit up and down, a little side to side, twisting your hips just a little bit, back and forth, side to side, side to side. Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's walk our hands up towards our feet, making our way nice and tall in the center of our mat. A very nice job. We have a couple more balancing poses before we finish our class today. So I invite you to find a nice stable place to stand. You don't have to be on your mat if you don't want to. And if you feel more comfortable next to a railing or a dresser, kitchen counter, something like that, that's a great place to be too. I'm gonna start with my tree pose. So for tree, I bring my left foot either to my calf here or to my upper thigh. The goal is not to push on your knee. I don't want pressure going against your knee. I want to pull my left knee out as far as I can, trying to open my hip. And then once I feel nice and balanced, I'm going to bring my palms to heart center in prayer. There you go. And I'm just going to stand here and hold my balance. There you go. I keep my gaze focused on a spot that's not moving in front of me, so I wouldn't be watching me on this video right now. My goal is to look at something that's not going to move to help me keep my balance. Remembering to breathe. Standing nice and tall. All right, let's drop that left leg. There you go. Maybe shake out the hips a little bit. And we'll go to the other side. So I plant that left foot. I'm going to bring my right foot up either to my calf or to my thigh. There you go. Notice our balance is a little bit different on each side. And then I'm going to bring my palms to heart center in prayer, making sure that hip is nice and open. There we go. Standing nice and tall. There we go. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's lower that right leg. There you go. Give it a nice little twist out. Okay. We're gonna do another one of my favorites here. Okay, it is the figure 4. So again, you might wanna have a railing or something near you to keep your balance. What I do is I plant my right foot, dig those toes into the ground. I'm gonna cross my leg over. There you go, like we're sitting in a chair almost here. I've got my left toes flexed. All right. And if you feel wild and crazy, you can reach those arms up to the sky, or you can keep them down here. We gotta lose our balance. And then, once I'm ready, I'm going to hinge at my hip, folding over, slowly reaching down towards the mat. I can bring the fingertips down towards the mat. I'm pushing my hips backwards just a bit, enjoying that nice stretch. Remembering, of course, to breathe here. Go. One more big breath in. And exhale. Let's slowly round ourselves up. Trying to keep our balance. We drop that left leg, reach our arms back up towards the sky, maybe wiggle those hips. Perfect. Left foot plants into the ground. My right leg kicks out and over. There we go. I flex those toes, reach my arms up again, and gently fold over. There we go. So with those right toes nice and flexed, my hips pushing back, nice and strong here. All right, I'm going to keep breathing. One more big deep breath in, and exhale. Let's slowly round ourselves back up to a standing position. All right, very nice job. All right, I want you to bring your arms up overhead, stretch tall, stretch up onto your toes, really stretch as tall as you possibly can. All right, fantastic. And from here, I want you just to bend your knees, keeping those heels off the ground. Your hands can meet in the center in prayer. And we're just gonna hold here with those heels off the ground for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stand up straight, drop your heels. You can drop those arms. Fantastic. I'm gonna step my feet forward here. Bend myself into a seated position like I'm sitting in a chair, so my knees are nice and bent. Fantastic. I reach my arms up towards the sky, really stretching, pushing those hips back for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. Stand up straight. All right, let's bring our hands together in prayer at our heart center. Today was a wonderful class. I am so thankful that you joined me today for Yoga with Mom, out of the chair. I'm Jen, and I want you to remember to really, really appreciate yourself for everything you do and for who you are. You are incredible, and the world is so much better because you're in it. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. I'm Jen, and again, thank you for joining Yoga with Mom. See you soon. Bye.